Previously.
How'd someone like that get to be your leader anyway?
Charisma. Circumstances, promises, and not enough of us spoke out to question him until it was too late. It happens on your planet, doesn't it?
I guess it does.
A blind mule has a better chance of being elected president than Buzz Windruff.
You're underestimating him.
And you're underestimating the country.
That would be overestimating, Frank, and no, I don't think I am. Unlike you two, I still believe in the people of this country, and we've come too far to be bamboozled by the histrionics of a two-bit huckster.
If you're going to do it right. I'll show you. You understand? For victory. Go tell your friends.
And now the conclusion. Hey folks, Rob Daniels here for the movie, TV, and video game soundtrack program Visions in Sound. I can be found every Saturday morning, 12 to 2 a.m. on Mix 98.5, and if you miss the show, hey, it happens. You can find me on visionsinsound.ca. Well, here we are, week 40. Yep, 12 weeks to go before the 25th anniversary of Visions in Sound, which happens, by the way, on June 7th, 2025, and I might have an announcement regarding that coming up very, very shortly. Special announcement, just so you know. So like I said, week 40. So, as you kind of may have guessed, I decided to continue. The last episode was left on kind of like a to be continued. That was not intentional. I did not put that up to say, oh, we'll continue on next week. But it makes sense. And here is what I'm going to be doing. I talked about V last week, the Joe Harnell score to V. Well, this week I decided to continue on into the V, the final battle. V, the original series, left a cliffhanger. Now there was, at the time, well, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but it was left in a very ambiguous state, where they sent a message out to the visitor, perhaps just sent an SOS out to see if there were other members, or if there was somebody who could help them against the visitors. In any case, so it kind of left it ambiguous and that sort of thing. So I remember my mom telling me at the time, she says, well, maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe leave it open like that so that you can determine the story. And at that time, there was a whole bunch of novels that were coming out as well. The A.C. Crispin album, or A.C. Crispin novels, you know, East Coast Crisis and West Coast Crisis and that kind of thing. So there was a whole bunch of these different novels that were coming out. And it was never implicitly stated that there was ever going to be a follow-up. Well, surprise, surprise, months later, a follow-up hits in 1984. And this is the V, the Final Battle. Now, there are some unfortunate things. First of all, we don't have the music of Joe Harnell. Second of all, Kenneth Johnson steps back from this. And here's kind of an explanation as to what happened.
I have a question for you, sort of outside the interview. Who is Lillian Weezer?
Lily was my dog, and my wife sort of expanded her name from Lily over the years to Lillian, and then she became Lillian Weezer. I don't remember. I think it was because I don't even remember how it got to Lillian Weezer, but that was our endearing name for our golden retriever, long since departed. Mm-hmm. And when I ended up having to leave the sequel to V at Warner's because they were concerned that I would still try to hang on to too much quality. What's a polite way to say that? And the script got totally aberrated from what we had originally written. I said, well, my name is not going on this, and I searched around for the appropriate name, and I thought, My dog's name is probably the right one, so that's who Lillian Weezer is. It cracks me up to see it on the Internet Movie Database. Kenneth Johnson also writing as Lillian Weezer. It kills me.
So yeah, he kind of got removed. So in any case, this is where 1984's V the Final Battle steps in with a score by, well, a theme and a somewhat score by Joseph Conlon and Barry Dvorak. And they were and their score, their theme and part of their score was used in the first couple of episodes. Have a listen to the opening theme that they did. Now, for me, at the time in 1984, and I don't know if this is just happenstance, circumstance, whatever, it sounds a little bit like The Terminator. At least it has that feeling, in any case. So yeah, so there you go. Now, for reasons that I've never actually been told, so for some reason, Barry Dvorak and Joseph Conlon were removed, and in their place was Dennis McCarthy. Now, Dennis McCarthy came in and, in my opinion, blew the score out of the water. He did some fantastic things. And just have a listen to this, to the action cues that were definitely needed in this particular series. And unfortunately, you can tell this was done quickly because there's a lot of synth hits, synthetic drums, and a little bit. And something that I didn't realize when I first got this, and by the way, this is the one that I have. It's not the official release. As you can see, this is a promo that was for sale for the longest time. And I know it says that they're not for sale, but I picked it up online. It's kind of one of those early online purchases that I picked up. In any case, so yeah, but eventually there was an official release, oddly enough, on Joe Harnell's website. Unfortunately, Joe's website no longer exists, and the final battle music and that is very hard to find in a physical form. You can find it digitally, but it's very hard to find in non-digital form. In any case. So, Dennis McCarthy. Oh, by the way, I mentioned that there was a lot of electronic music going on here, but something that surprised me in all of this was the use of blaster beam. Yes, blaster beam that was famously done in the 1979 Star Trek The Motion Picture shows up here. Here's perfect examples. Yeah, I had completely forgotten about it, and I listened to it a couple of years later, and I was like, wait a second, this is blaster beam. Because at the time, when I was, when I first heard it, when I first picked it up, I was like, well, this is a neat instrument, but what is it? And it didn't register with me. So hearing the blaster beam show up here is really, really cool. Now, eventually, and this is interesting, that Dennis McCarthy went on to score the series. Now, unfortunately, the series, and I want to be kind here, the series is not that good. It has its moments, but they took out a lot of things that were iconic to the series. The visitor's voice had all that warbling effect to it is gone. The effects are definitely not up to the same standard that the miniseries, the original miniseries and V the Final Battle had. And so it kind of didn't last, but as someone once said in the comments of my previous video, that Dennis McCarthy's score to V the series is probably some of the best thing about the V the series. So have just a quick listen. You'll notice, first of all, have a listen, but you'll notice some similarities here. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, a really good follow-up to a certain point. And I won't ruin the ending for those that haven't seen it, but it kind of drops the ball a little bit at the end of the miniseries. Now, the series itself, again, didn't last. It didn't even last a season. I think it was like I don't even think it was quite a full season. So yeah. But Dennis McCarthy would spin this into eventually probably working on Star Trek The Next Generation, becoming lead composer in several series beyond that, and has worked in science fiction pretty much ever since. So yeah. So Kenneth Johnson did return to the V universe, and that was in a couple of forms. V: The Second Generation, and a book that kind of took he picked up from where the original series left off and wrote a completely different story for that he was, again, not really involved with V: The Final Battle, kind of got pushed to the side. And yeah, he also has returned more recently with the Joe Kramer scored V: Visitation. This is UK Visitation. So this takes place over in Britain, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's that. I'll play a couple of tracks for you just to kind of reacquaint you with it. So yeah, there you go. V, the final battle, and V, the series. Great scores for what could have been a very good ending to the V saga, but unfortunately when networks and the money men get involved, it just doesn't, for some reason it just seems to fall apart. Now that's not to be critical of the wonderful work done by the actors and the wonderful work done by everybody else, but for some reason it just kind of fell apart. I also do remember, and this is kind of just a little side note, Battle of the Network Stars also had, I just remember them having members of the V cast in there. For some reason, I don't know why, for some reason I wanted to throw that in there. Do you remember Battle of the Network Stars? I do.
Thursday at 8, 7 Central, your favorite TV stars are hot and ready for action in the wildest competition ever. They're sharing all the thrills and taking all the spills in the all-new Battle of the Network Stars at 8, 7 Central. Thursday.
Like, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the film, television, or video game music that I do play on my show, you can have a listen every Saturday morning, 12 to 2 a.m. on Mix 98.5. And you can also find me on my website, visionsinsound.ca, if you miss the show, which does happen. I'm also on Blue Sky at visionsinsound.bsky.social, and I can also be found on many of the other podcatchers out there, including the likes of Apple Music and GoodPods, a downloadable app for your phone or other type devices. So as I've said, like, share, and subscribe. Get out there and listen to some fantastic, interesting, great scores that don't necessarily have to be by the mainstream composers. And I will simply... Yeah, Gimli's back there. He's been having a nap. So just so you know, there's that going on. Folks, to be serious for a moment, I know that things look dark right now, especially here in Canada. But let's stick together. Yeah, again. Oh, you coming over? So yeah. I realize it's going to be tough out there for the next little while, especially here in Canada. And if you're having troubles, by all means, if someone you know is in crisis and needs help, please call 911 for immediate help. Dial or text 988 for the Suicide Crisis Helpline, 1-844-HERE-247, and HERE247.ca all offer ways of getting help if you or someone you know may be suffering from mental health issues. So yeah, with my buddy here, Gimli, get out there and enjoy some fantastic, wonderful, beautiful scores, because there are composers out there that are worthy of your time. Have yourself a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey, Gim? Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Are you as good as your makeup?
The New Yorker said my nurse in Romeo and Juliet was the best since Edith Evans.
I saw Dame Edith do that.
You did?
Mm-hmm. In London a long time ago.
Why, you're not as primitive as I thought you were. Oh, perhaps.
The wrench is a little ugly, but it'll do the job. To the base of the skull.
What happened to you, Mr. Tyler? How did you become someone so dangerous?
You make it back safely. I'll tell you the story of my life.
I have a hunch that's worth coming back for.
On my signal, you pull the plug. Blow up the power supply and turn off the lights. This whole operation is staged around you.
A star at last. Let's go.